Okay, welcome everybody to an evening of Q&A with NLP experts Rex Sikes and Jonathan Altfeld. Thank you very much, guys, for showing up and for being part of this historic event, the experts at NLP. Now, I just want to preface a little bit of this teleseminar with with how I got interested in Rex's work. I had done a number of recordings with like this type of teleseminars with a friend of mine, with a trainer that I consider a mentor and now a friend, by the name of Mark Cunningham. And during I think one of the last calls that I did with him, and I did a number of them, one of the questions was who was his influences in the work that he does, and I had taken a lot of classes with Mark, and I pretty much knew, where he had gotten his trainings, or so I thought, and I was really surprised when he mentioned Rex's name as one of his major influences. He said he was sitting in this room during, I think it might have been another trainer, a major trainer's class, and I think he said he was sitting next to this guy who seemed very laid back and very unpresupposing, I guess, or just very nonchalant. And I think he said he was called up to the front of the room to do a little presentation, and it was like state control bonanza. And he mentioned it was Rex Sikes. He went up there and he just changed his state like 180 degrees, and his presentation was extremely professional and extremely desirable. I mean, he just latched onto everybody's brainstem and just dragged them into his world during his presentation. So I became very interested in speaking with Rex and getting more information about Rex. And then subsequent to that, I was on a training with Jonathan, and Jonathan mentioned his name. Now I have two of my mentors, two men that I really look to for answers in the hypnosis and NLP realm that recommended Rex. So when I heard that Jonathan was bringing Rex out of mothballs, I peaked up and perked up, and I really wanted to get more info about it, and that's why I brought and asked Jonathan and Rex to be interviewed for this session of Q&A. So
I don't think Rex is, just to interrupt, I don't think Rex was being pulled out of mothballs. He's been incredibly busy doing filmmaking and entertaining and doing corporate presentations for the past, 12, 13 years.
Well, good, excellent. But he was very difficult for anybody else outside of his specific corporate market and the film world in order to take advantage of this. So, Jonathan, you've done us a great service by bringing him out.
I appreciate that, but the service is really going to be it's more like a gift rather than me doing a service. Not only are other people getting an opportunity to hear from and about Rex now, and also have the opportunity to train with him in November, but I get the opportunity to train again with him, from both the student and hopefully co-trainer perspective here. So we all have quite a treat in store.
Yeah. So it sounds great. So I know that Jonathan has been doing some fantastic training. He does real-world applications for NLP, which I love, because NLP can get, in my mind, can get very technical, and sometimes I have difficulty seeing how I can apply it in the real world at times. But Jonathan takes it right into the real world. He lets you experience certain things. I did a class with Jonathan on humor, and we went right into modeling comedians, which was really it was a really great little practice, which I really thoroughly enjoyed, and the whole class enjoyed it, and everybody was having fun. We were all laughing at our own comedic skills, which prior to that we might not have had or had as proficiently. So it was really cool. Once again, the applications of using hypnosis in the real world. So if you guys have anything you want to say about where you've been or what you've been doing, you could do so now, and then I'll just get into the questions.
Why don't we maximize the opportunity for your attendees and your list members to ask questions of presumably mostly Rex, and if I can chime in here and there, I certainly will. I do know that Rex's voice is a bit strained. He's got a mild case of laryngitis. He's here anyway, which is, again, a gift to us. But I'll try and pick up whenever his voice gets a little strained.
All right. Well, I've got a bunch of questions that people have sent in, and then we can open up the lines, and if any other questions from the people that are listening. So Marcel wrote, I'd like some clarification on using meta programs. She wanted to know what your thoughts are on doing hypnotherapy on someone whose English is their second language, and if you think that's not an issue, what proficiency level do they need to be?
Well, good question. Rex, do you want me to start? Would you like to start?
Uh-oh.
Is Rex still on the line?
You know what? Let me check something.
Okay.
I'm muted.
Rex, are you on the line?
Can you hear me?
I can now.
Now we can.
Yeah, I've been trying to get a word in edgewise. You guys just won't shut up.
Okay.
That's
what I'm going to do is
how you go on and on and on.
Rex,
you put me on mute. Thanks.
I did, because you called in on the wrong line. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to mute everybody, and what you need to do is press *6 to unmute your call after I mute everybody.
I do?
Okay? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I called in on a line that you sent me on Facebook. Did I call the wrong thing?
Now.
Am I unmuted?
Yes, you are.
You're unmuted.
All right. I thought it was the most amazing thing. I was sitting, when you started, you said, I'm going to mute everybody. I heard muted. And I went, hello, and it was like, I thought, wow, he did it by voice command alone, too, on top of it. It's like, with godlike powers, mute, and everybody's just silent. I was like, oh, wow.
And poor Rex has laryngitis, and he's probably screaming on the line going, can you hear me? Can you?
Yeah, no, I sat very quietly, actually. I was, enjoying it and wondering how I could ever live up to that kind of introduction that you provided me. And you brought back fond memories of Mark and, of course, Jonathan and earlier days. And I want to say something about the Mark Cunningham experience. I don't know if I remember, I think before we went, I think that was a little encapsulated. I think what we did was we had a dinner meeting, and we were all at dinner one night, and then the next morning I got up and talked and did a seminar day or something. Maybe it's otherwise, but I live by the motto, that you have ninja powers, and one of them is invisibility, that you can turn on and off whenever you want to. I think one of the problems with celebrity and or heightened ego is that you have to have a spotlight on you all the time. And if you do that, you can't live the kind of life you might wish to live, like with family and friends, and have those quiet and peaceful moments. So I'm usually just a schlep sitting in the back somewhere without any energy or any attention, and then they say, oh, that's Rex Sikes, and they go, that is Rex Sikes. and they go, yeah. They go, well, he can't. How's he ever going to even stand up? He looks like he can't even stand. I mean, and then I get up and I do what I'm supposed to do, you know, and that's control the room with state, you know, my state being first, trying to invite people to join me in that so that we can all move together, kind of all rowing the boat in the same direction, you know, and that takes an incredible amount of energy, but you don't want that energy if you're having dinner with friends.
Sure.
So it's learning when and where to utilize states, utilizing your attitudes, knowing you can turn something on and off. And you know where this came from for me was acting, because as an actor, I would see people who would, the director would go cut, and they would get off the set and they would still be in character, you know, and maybe they're playing, you know, some horrible person. And so now they're walking around playing a horrible person to the people who are bringing them coffee and tea and the, you know, the wardrobe mistress and everything else, because they have to stay in character. And I went, you know, I want an on and off switch. I want to be able to turn it on when they say action and turn it off when they say cut. I don't want to have to spend 3 or 4 or 5 months. If it took you a year to make a movie, would you want to spend a year being a miserable person because that's the kind of part you're playing? I think not. Mm-hmm. So to me, what it means and why I go this far is to say that anytime anyone has a skill or an ability or a talent, the question becomes is knowing the wisdom to use it and when to use it and when not to use it, so that you can have what you want in all sorts of places. Now, if I'm sitting around with dinner and I want to entertain my friends, I can bring energy up like that, like anyone else can. If I want to look like the little schlep in the corner that nobody recognizes, I can do that too, and hence the ninja art of invisibility. And
I like that.
All of NLP to me represents that. I mean, not that NLP has anything to do with that, but that's how we should approach NLP, is there's a time and a place to do, and there's a time and a place to not to do. And knowing the difference is where wisdom comes in.
Lovely.
And having the ability to turn it on and off is really key, like accessing the switch that most people don't even know is there.
So thank you for that little, I guess, prelude. There was a question that I didn't hear all of it because we were in the process of muting and unmuting.
Okay. Marcel wrote, I'd like some clarification on using meta programs. And she also wanted to know thoughts about doing hypnotherapy on someone whose English is their second language. And if you think that it's not an issue, what proficiency level do you need to be?
Well, let's try to take, this is like 3 questions, and we'll try to take one at a time. He wants some clarification on meta programs?
Yeah, that's what Marcel wanted.
Okay. I think of I'll give you like 3-sentence answer to what I think about meta programs.